he won't care about this motor car coming close to him. I know you're going to turn around at me and say, no, he was fine on the road. That ain't nothing to do with what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is reading and understanding the horse's problem. That's what you got to do. So if you look, his tail could be more away from his quarters than what it is.
Thank you.
His ears are on me all the time. Now, that bike's just gone down there, right? He's not bothered about the bike. He heard it when the bloke was freewheeling and you get that clicking sound off the bike. He never bothered about that. He's more concerned than anything surrounding around him, what I'm saying, what I'm doing. Which tells me, not necessarily, I am not, saying that this is the case in any way. I'm not claiming that. But it could be that he's lost his confidence. That's what I would say. So he's lost his confidence in being out there on his own. He's remembering me. This man, he knows what he's doing. I don't mean that in a conceited way. I'm talking about as far as he sees me. This man's all right. I've been here before. It's all coming back to me now, and that's fine. So he's locked up on me, waiting for another instruction. Can you see his ears ain't moved, have they? You think they were stuck on backwards, yeah? So he's holding them back all the time and he's listening. Now I've got a thing there, motor car coming, saying, motorbike saying. He's just turned his ear to listen. There it is. Right. Well, now, what's happened there is nothing to do with his motorbike. So people will say to me, oh yeah, you look funny with bikes. He ain't funny with bikes at all. But up there, see it flying over there, look. There's a couple of pigeons. Either feeding or mating up in this tree here, covered in this smaller one, this side covered in ivy. So when he's left there, he's made a noise with his wings. So you've got to understand that. So 90% of people have put that down to their motorbikes. He don't care about a motorbike. He ain't bothered about that. As soon as the motorbike appeared around the corner, he'd be backing, doing something, tightening up, putting his tail down a little bit tight with it. So now, just then, see there again, there's a dog barking in the background, just down here with the gamekeeper's house, and he's got dogs there. So look at his head, he's not bothered about that motor car. Or what girls, or what noise it's making, he's just thinking, so what did he do then, why did he move? Most people say to me, why did he move then? He ain't bothered about the motor's gone past, he's not bothered about that at all. He thinks that's what we've been waiting for. So he's saying, right, you ready then, Baz? We'll go. No, we won't. We'll stay here. We've got another one up our arse. He's just coming. Another one coming from behind now. Yeah. So that's that one, right? But he ain't bothered. But his ears are still on me. One ear hole never followed the noise of that motor car, did it? Didn't follow it. So he's more interested in what I'm saying. If I say to him now, he'd do anything, ask him, walk. Walk. Bear in mind, I don't train them with a big lump of metal and a curb chain and a cantilever bit, military reversible, butterfly, Liverpool, anything you want to mention. No, I don't. If you can do them in a rubber bit when they've had a bit of trauma and you can bring them to the job, they've got to be listening. And I know people say, pressure and release. It's not pressure and release, it's pain and release. Release the pain, not the pressure. The pressure relates directly to pain on the horse's bars. If you don't believe me, as I've said a load of times, put the bit across there, the curb chain underneath. So the bit is sitting there with a Liverpool, a cantilever bit, Okay, so-called driving bits out, like that. Curb chain underneath, give it a little twist there, make you cry, the pain. And that bone there is quite wide on me. On a horse is much narrower on its bars, and so is its chin the other side. And you see these down on the slot, I say you've got to control them. It's not because it's impossible for me to drive the number of horses I do in a soft rubber bit under all the circumstances they drive in. So, if I say to him now, trot on boy, go straight to the next gear. Yeah. If I say to him now, very little blank contact, yeah, rein's still wobbling. Steady. Steady. I'm right back to a jig jog, yeah? So by the time he leaves here, when I tell him steady, he'll come back to walk and he will stop. People say to me, why do you canter them on the road? You must never do that. Who said so? Who's the great authority that knows all about it to say so? Every single horse that's ever been here for training has been cantered on the road. Why do I do it? Because if the horse ever gets into a canter, the whole of his world changes. He no longer believes he's got a cart behind him like he had at the trot. It's only got a rattle, make a move, and he will run away from the cart. The more he runs, the more you'll hang on to him. The more he'll fight your hands, the more you can't hold him. No good. But if I say to this horse, which is only, right, trot. See that? Jig jog trot, nothing fast. Trot on. Hear the note change. Just going along there like that. Nice on a slack rein, not being pulled or mauled or anything anyway. Go on baby, good boy. I've just come down a mile from home and Reed's reminded me we need to make a film about this also. We're just going to make a lovely little pony. I broke him quite a while ago now. Little cob, real nice little cob he's lovely. But he'd been away from work a while, I think, and he got a bit nervous. So they've asked us just to put him back in and bring him up to our standard, basically. You know, the standard of how we train them. So the standard of how we train them is what you see on YouTube. If you're watching this, you know what we do, or you know you can go to other videos and see. So he wouldn't stand at a junction. So what I've done is just brought him down here, stand still. So I don't hurt him, you see. I don't, you know, do anything other than just keep my hand loose, and all he's got in his mouth is a soft rubber bit. So he's listening to me. If he had a metal bit in his mouth with a curb chain, I mean, as I've said 1,000 times, put the bit there, the curb chain underneath your arm, yeah? Do it up to what it should be, 2 fingers room, and then just twist it, and as long as you keep your thumb up there, so that this bone stays directly facing up, you will cry. A big strong man, it will hurt. So when they say pressure and release, that's a load of nonsense. What it is pain and release. Pain and release. Because you're inflicting pain on it with the metal bit in its mouth and a curb chain. Now I know that will go against 10 million people that drive like that, but if I can drive 600, 700, 1,000 films or more on YouTube, there's certainly 2,000 or 3,000 films altogether, more than that, and they're all driven in rubber bits. Stand still, with the exception, very, very rarely is there an exception to that, and it will be trained, retrained, done whatever in a rubber bit. There you can see it as plain as you like in the horse's mouth, and you can bend that right in half. You know, you can double it right over. You could, if one ring was smaller than the other one, you'd be able to pass it through it and pull it tight. That's how loose the rubber is, very, very soft. So if I can do that with horses, it's because I've taken the time to understand the horse, to read its body language, to actually, you know, cajole it, kid it, not whack it, not hit it, not, you know, and I use my voice, yeah? So if I'm not, exactly as you would with a child, if you've got a child crossing the road or going to touch a fire or put it yourself in some sort of danger, you will raise your voice. And often the fact that you know, you've raised your voice is enough. Now what he just done then is a prime example of what the fella's, you know, suffering from. It's because he does not want to stand here. Now some horses would paw the ground, stand still, come up, Come over. Oh, I'm not going to let him go any further than what he is, but I'm not pulling his head off, am I? I haven't got a great iron bit in his mouth, yeah? And I sit here perfectly calm and quiet when he has a little hissy fit, yeah? There's no point in me screaming, sending someone down to his head, hang on to him for God's sake, he's going to go. No, he's not. If you understand horses and you can read their body language, what he's saying to me is, for God's sake, will you shut up and let's get on with this job? No. A horse, when we take it out of the wild, we ask it to live in our world, yeah? And there's thousands of restrictions, and none of what we do with horses makes any sense to them. Absolutely crazy. They'd sooner be in that field, eating some grass, lovely long grass, being there, laying down in the sun, playing with their mates, mating if they're stallions and mares, mating, and living in a herd and living by their rules that the herd creates, right? Or normally the lead mare creates. It's certainly not a stallion that creates it. It's a lead mare or gelding in that group that'll be in charge. So you could see all that nonsense there. And have I panicked? Have I hit it? Have I smacked it? Have I done anything? So he thinks, now look, come on then, look, we can go. Yeah, we can go. The motor's gone, the car's gone. What are we waiting here for? I'm sick of this. So that's what he's got to do. For his safety and for everybody else on the road. So you don't need the big bit. And the first thing people would do, these great people that drive and, you know, telling everybody how it's done, they'd have a bit in his mouth and a curb chain. Have I? No. Is the horse all right? Is he standing there now behaving himself? Yes. Now we're going to move him up to the junction. So we'll do it there and see a couple of cars go past. Now the only problem we got with that, this is a narrow lane. A car will come up behind us, and then obviously we've either got to wave it on if it's safe to do so, or we've got to move away because we're going to create a problem with the traffic. And you never want to do that. I don't have signs on the back of my carriage say pass wide and slow. No, I don't. But what I do have is indicator, brake lights fitted. Yeah. So everything that today's driver can relate to, like that motor car going up there or that truck going up there, it's got lights on the back, isn't it? Now we listen to what them lights tell us. Oh, he's braking, so I'll brake. Indicates on. Oh, the reversing lights to come on. We have all that on here. No, we don't have reversing lights, but anything else we have, right? So it's easily related to. But when you train horses, this is what this is about. Patience of a saint. Use your voice to show your disapproval of what they're doing. Otherwise, leave them not in a field. I don't mean in a field. That's not freedom for horse. Let them walk from here to Scotland. A river, mountain, swamp, forest, a natural barrier that he can't get past. Other than that, let him go where he likes. That's freedom. We take them out of that world, we put them into this world. People say, well, they've been domestic for a long time. Well, you turn him loose out somewhere, you know, where he could run and play. Go and see if you can get him in a year's time. He's learnt a complete new life. In a herd, I mean. He's not going to run out the herd and come and see you. That's definite. That's very hard to prove, but that's what I believe. Let's just say I believe that. So I'm just not making him, I'm not hurting him, I'm not forcing him. He don't want to do this. Got some flies around him now. But before we left, we sprayed him all over, you know, with the fly repellent to keep him off. And he's not bothered. He's also, if you look at his little mouth, I'll just turn his head around this way without him moving forward. Stand. You see, like, when I stand, you see there, soap in his mouth. Well, you know, what I mean is he's playing with a bit, lavering up on it. That's lovely. Now I should say to him, walk. Now he thinks we're going to carry on walking right up to that junction. We're not. Right. But if the junction weren't there, I'd still do the same thing. So I've got one coming up behind. I've just heard it. He has heard it. His ears have just tightened up just before I heard it. So we'll let that go past. There you go, lovely. Now we'll ask him walk. Walk. So we let him walk away. He mustn't go away at the trot. Just got to walk. At what pressure am I putting on his mouth? Well, there's my thumb and forefinger. What pressure can I hold on him with that? You know, no matter how strong your hands are. Alright, and I'm going to say to him, whoa, stand still. And I'm going to say to him, annoy him, not annoy him, but asked him to do what I want him to do. I don't really want to go back, but I'm going to ask him to do that solely from the point of view it's not what he wants to do, yeah? And he must do what I want him to do. You can't ask them to make the... Come over, babe. Come over. Come over. Come over. Whoa. Come back, darling. Come back, my baby boy. Come back, my baby. Come back. Come back. Come back. Come back. Whoa. Walk up. Walk up. You see that other bit of... Walk up. Walk. Walk up. So you see this temper that he has in him. Now, that will come out, that will stop. We'll have him right inside no time. Go on. Go on. You let her get down there. That's it. Well, so Ree's just had to get down and just adjust his breeching. So we've just changed the strap. If you see, it's not wrapped around the shafts. It's just once round. So you've seen him play up in there, mess about, be silly when there's no need. But did you hear me shout and scream at him, hit him, whack him, big brave men do, you know what I mean, and dominate him and all? I don't want to do that. I want to work with him, cajole him, kid him to do what I want to do, to stand there quiet until I asked him to move. As I've said, if we're going to take them out of the wild, and it's not a field, please believe me, and people say, oh, my fields are beautifully clean. Well, let me tell you, you pick the muck up once a day. So that means 23 hours a day there's muck on the ground and they've got to eat round it. I'm sorry if that offends people, but that's the truth. If they can walk from here to Scotland, I know necessarily they wouldn't. There'd be a certain amount of time, but it's here to the New Forest, 30 mile away, yeah? If they could walk that, then their poo would be up behind them and a fresh part of grass would be in front of them, wouldn't it? Simple. Oh, right, you could say, well, there might be another herd already at the grass. Yes, I understand that, but as a basic rule, that's the truth. But can you see him standing there now, quiet as a lamb? But did you see me panic? Or what's the worst thing you can do? And the worst thing you can do for me, not for you, I'm not telling you how to do it, I'm only saying what I do, is most people would panic, go down to his head, grab hold of his head, and oh dear, like take him out, he's not happy. But he's standing there now, lovely, isn't he? And I'll just say to him again now, stand still, baby, let this motor car come by. And I'll say to him, walk, come on, walk. And go away at the walk nicely. Now, what he's learnt to do, I would think, this is not a best junction to try him on, but you see the paintwork or the road marking is worn away, yeah? But I'm going to stop him on it walk. Now sometimes it can be that because they've got away with messing about at a junction, they believe as soon as they see that painted line or the fact that it is a junction, you know, where they've got motors possibly coming in front of them, like this one's going to come in front of it, and walk, they'll play up, yeah? A lot of the time with horses is trying to learn. We've started doing clinics, you know, we go abroad a lot and do clinics. Well, we're asked to go a lot, we get over there as often as we can. We're supposed to be in Canada now. The only thing that stopped it is this COVID problem. But you see he's going along there, no trouble at all. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take him up to a trot, a gentle trot, like a jig jog we call it, yeah? And then a trot, then a trot on, then a little canter, and then I'm going to skid him to a stop with a rubber bit, right? And he's going to stop this vehicle, no trouble at all behind him, and then more importantly, he's going to walk off, no problem at all, without being panicked or upset by it. Trot, jig, 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 trot. So one pace at jig, now at trot, agreed. You can hear it on his feet. Trot on, canter. And I'll just give him a stop with no brakes. Whoa. So there's an emergency stop. Is this horse upset? Is he frightened? Is he panicking? No. Has he got a rubber bit in? Yes. But we're training him properly. We're making it for any eventuality. So he's had the weight of this largest vehicle up behind him. Walk, up behind him, yeah? Pushing him along. And he's skidded to a stop. You say to me, oh, you cruel man. No, there's going to be a situation one day possibly where that'll happen, yeah? If he's already done it and been there, thank you. If he's already done it and been there, you know, and he understands what you want, that's it. I mean, why wouldn't you teach him that? One day that will happen. You teach him everything else when you're training them, to be used to the car, road markings, etc. like that. One day, you might need to pull him up because a kid is running out in front of you. He's got to stop as quickly as you possibly can. Well, you want him to do that because you don't want to pull him up, stop him as quickly as you can, and then he starts leaping about and panicking. That's no good, is it? But this is my life, these horses. And very few people want to accept what I do, especially like people in the driving world, obviously. They've all got their Liverpools in with their curb change. You hear all the time, a firm contact at all times, yeah? Well, it's not just one film, there's 2,000-3,000 films altogether. I think maybe more than that. And the horses are doing perfectly all right without any help. So there's no rain on this horse here. And we're going through here, right, between these cars, down by the side of here. Got these people standing behind. All I'm doing is putting a little bit of brake on, but he'll hold this back anyway, if I want him to.
Thank you.
All right. Just nice and quiet. He's going down here. Lovely. He's not being naughty, is he? Not doing anything wrong in any way, shape or form. Yeah. And now I'm going to bring him up here. And watch this, look, asked him to hold it, well, can you see, he's standing there with the weight, his trace is hanging down, and the weight of this vehicle and everything is on his quarters. Another thing that's come about over the last few years, which is total nonsense, in my opinion, is when people say, we'll go in a two-wheeler or a four-wheeler. Well, how would you know the difference? The only difference between a two and a four-wheeler, when you get on board, you apply pressure to his back. Once you're on the seat and you've got it done properly, well then it's balanced. So there is no weight. The shafts would float in the tug. So where's the difference? I've just stopped a big vehicle with just the britching alone, nothing behind him. So where's the... Come round, darling, baby child. Come round, my little baby child. Come round, darling. Come round. Going down this slowly, a little narrow bit. Come on, bud. It's lovely for us to learn. Come on. Come on. Come on. So he's got to hold it down here. Look at it. Just look at the trace. He's holding down this steep bit. Anyone that knows where I live would know this bit of road. And then we're coming up here. So you come round the bottom and you've got to climb up. Now the problem is with this road, it's a bit slippery for shod horses, you know. I mean, we have horses shod with road nettles, obviously, to aid them in their grip, you know. But you can see him coming up here now. Like that, no trouble at all. Good boy. All right, mate. And this is one lovely little pony. But you can see what's happened to, well, I don't know what's happened to him, I don't know. But you can see him messing about and doing, but by the time we're done with him, you know, he'll be 100%. Steady, my little boy. So just my voice, and he's slowing up, isn't he? Yeah? Did you see me pull the reins, tighten them even? No. But they say a firm contact at all times. You need to pressure and release. Pressure and release. If I hear that much more, what that is pain and release. If you don't believe what I say, I'm going to do this one more time. Because people don't believe what you say, they don't believe what I do. But it's not because I'm any genius. I've done it all my life, and you obviously learn things as you go along, and if you've got a passion for it, you're going to get as best as you can be. But it's not how good I am, it's how good they are. How well they take my training, how well they behave to what I ask them to do. But if you get a bit and you put it there, stick your thumb up so you know what you're doing. Put the bit there. The chain, curb chain underneath. There's your cheek piece coming down the side. Give it a little twist like that, and that'll make a grown man cry. Won't be able to take the pain. And the bone here, if you feel it, is twice as wide at least as the jawbone. So therefore, the spread of pressure is greater over here. Feel your horse's mouth. Put your finger in the side there gently and feel the jaw below and the jaw inside on the bars. And it's very, very narrow. And you've got someone with a cantilever on the bit and a curb chain pulling hard on them reins. Yeah? No good. If this horse will back this vehicle up and do everything I wanted to do in the rubber bit, why not? But they won't let you in the show ring without a rubber bit. Well, that's what I was told. I'd done a young lady's pony, a little 14-year-old young lady. She could drive beautifully. I mean, seriously good driver. For her age, she come and had some lessons with me, you know, when we had time, well, while her horse was here. Only because she wanted to get, you know, to know the horse, and she had a couple of things that she was going to do, a couple of events, a couple of shows. So I agreed to do that, and she come down. Right. Oh, look at that, that's good. She, that's a brilliant idea. So she come and had a little dog on that crossbar of that bike. I noticed. So, come on. So, come on, darling, yeah, good boy. So she went into the show ring with a rubber bit, and the man there with his bowler hat on, you know, steward or in charge of it, judging him, told her to leave the ring immediately, put a curb chain on and a proper driving bit. Well, let me tell you this. I've got some old books that a man travelled the country with the books, or an area. He would be travelling the country, and he'd be like a rep for everything to do. Metal work with horses. Anything to do with that, you know, like bits, buckles, harness makers, stuff, all sorts. Anything to do with horses. And he would have that and show them. And that is 18, it's an old one. There's another one going around, a bigger version, but I think mine's 1847, I can't remember. But in that catalogue book, people don't want to accept it, don't want to believe it, but there's a whole page, a complete page, and it's a large page, full of rubber driving bits. That's all that time ago, yeah? So 1940 with 1960 years, 180 years ago, that's what was happening. I've got my thumbs right, yeah, 180 years ago. Now, they didn't have them in that catalogue book, did they? Because they didn't sell any, because they wouldn't put them in the book, obviously. And then on the page by the side of it, which you're not going to believe, no one wants to believe, and there's a whole page next to it of leather driving bits. A whole page of leather driving bits. So some of, you know, just some of them are leather, completely leather, sewn together. So they got a thick leather piece that's been rounded off running through the middle, and then they've got what they call secret stitching or hidden stitching, and a roll of leather around it, yeah? And that's all the horse has got in his mouth. Obviously whatever cheek pieces you want on it, rings, loose rings, fixed rings, whatever, but that's what it's got. And they're driving horses like it. And if I'm, how can I do all the horses? I check the films, check all the films, zoom in, see what they got. You'll see a recent one up where I've got a rubber Liverpool. The only reason I've got it in the horse's mouth, the Liverpool, it's on smooth cheek, but it's a fixed cheek, it doesn't swivel, yeah? And it was quite expensive, so it's there, so don't come back and touch its lips, because around its mouth, in the crease of its mouth, around there for about 1.5 inches, it's had some reaction to the rubber. It's the only one that's ever been like that, or I don't even know if it was the rubber. It could have been whatever. We had some cheek guards at the time. We had some rubber ones, we had some other material leather ones, and I don't know whether it was the dye in the leather that, you know, affected him. But it never irritated him, he never scratched it, and it never got sore. It just took the hair and the pigment out slightly. So we fixed that one on so that it wouldn't come back and create any more pressure, and made it a little bit wider in his mouth than it needed to be to keep it away. And being fixed cheek, it didn't flex. It flexed on the rubber around the bar running through the middle of it. It flexed around that. So you see this little pony here working away perfectly happily, going, oh, there you go, no hands. He ain't doing nothing wrong, is he? Come over. Hey. Where do you think he's heading? To have a bite of grass? Come over there, baby. There's your good little boy. So there you go. Please don't think I do get a bit, I don't know what Rick calls it, animated or something, a bit excited. But I love my job and I love my horses. And if I'm a liar, you know, or if I've got it wrong or I'm not doing it right, lovely, tell me. Give me a comment. I love comments. Best thing in the world. Then I'll know what you want, what you're looking for, what I can help you with. Gladly. Comments are the greatest thing you can have. Good or bad, I don't mind. Whatever. If you don't agree, don't agree. That's lovely. But, you know, tell me why you don't agree. And that's the only way any of us learn. But you've got an entrenched attitude. It will never change until it's challenged. And how can I drive all the horses I drive, and anybody that, you know, sent horses here that were runaways, smashed up cars, been involved in accidents, they all leave here being driven in a soft rubber bit, and they all skid to a stop. They will all back up, they'll all stand, and they'll do everything that's required of them exactly the same as there was. So why do people use them? Well, I have to say to you, well, I've got to tell you, you know, there was years ago when I was a kid, I used to be real interested in bits, you know, and the reason being, when I got my first little pony, I was only like a youngster, and I had an old music, I used to pick up any leather I could find. I used to go around with a rag and bone man, and I'd pick up any leather I could find, and then I'd taught myself a little bit of stitching. Nothing, you couldn't possibly, you know, like, present it as being stitching to anybody that knew what they was doing. But as far as repairing a little bit of harness, I could do it, you know. So I learnt how to do it. The harness maker showed me, and I've got these old, what they used to call them, sheet music briefcases. So they had a metal rod running over, and had a metal rod running over the flopped over, and then they had a leather handle, so they had two rings with leather passing backwards and forwards through the rings, and then it was sewn, much like the old bits in the picture. So I used to use them. I used to cut them off and use them as bits, and they worked wonderfully well. I think the reason I done it first off was I had a horse that was a little bit sore, you know, got son's on his, burnt his lips and that, and on a little pony, a bit light round his mouth, and I just put that in because it would just sat better, you know, and softer. I drove it all over the place, so whenever I used to find these, there's lots of them about in old briefcases and stuff like that, lots more stuff made of leather than what it is today, and I cut them all off and kept them. And they was varying sizes, but they looked every bit like when you put them on the when you put them on the against the page in the book, you couldn't really tell any difference, you know. So that's what I've done. They had brass rings on. You had to make sure the rings were strong enough, you know what I mean, and big enough to take the reins. Trot, baby, trot. Good boy. So that's what I've done, and please believe me, I'm just an ordinary fella that breaks horses. I'm not, another thing, if you turn the clock back 100 years, there'd be nobody whatsoever, because everybody could do it. You know, loads of people, you know, had the same sort of. I worked with a couple of people that, you know, or knew people that had horses, etc. And some of them men could drive a team through the eye of a needle. You wouldn't hear them come back and say, oh, my hands hurt, my arms hurt. No, they wouldn't, because they're barely touching them. And have them all sitting on the bit, they'd be lovely, they'd be what's it, but they understood horses. They could read body language. They could know what was required. Yeah? So see my little pony now, he's going home. When we get back in a minute, he'll have a nice bath. You know, he'll have a pressure wash, a shower. We can set the temperature on it, so you can set the temperature to what you want. It's not a steam cleaner, it only goes up to a certain temperature, obviously. And he'll be washed out, his mane and tail and everything, and all his body, and his legs will be washed out, and he'll be put away, and my little mate here will be happy and contented, because I can see he's happy and contented. If you can see, you'll see now that his tail is off his quarters by about another half an inch, maybe an inch more than what it was, certainly half an inch, 3/4. It's off his tail. You can tell that by the 2 tufts of white hair. They're not laid down tight against his quarters, you know. So, yeah. But I love what I do, and I can't abide the fact that people that tell me or say or insist on this, that and the other, and it's got to be done this way, right, they're blind. They're blinkered. They don't want to know, because they can't do what I do. Now, I don't mean that in a nasty way. Please don't think I mean that in look how clever I am. I'm not saying that. But, you know, if you're going to have an argument or a discussion about something, lovely. Do that. I can only tell you what I think and what works for me. And if I can get this pony to behave himself with a soft piece of rubber. Come on, baby boy. I'm just putting the indicator on there, you can hear it bleeping away. I've got floor operated ones on this carriage, indicators, which are good. Leaves your hands free, you know, you ain't got to use your hands. On the other one I've got hand one, but it's only here by my right hand side, my whip hand, right by the whip holder, and I can change it there. I've got 4-way flashes, everything on it. You know, light comes up the back, extends up high, and you can have it on a pole for round the country lanes where you've got high hedges and that. Good thing to have. And it's not, you know, it's no great thing to do. It's not hard to do. It's simple enough to do. Well, it'd have to be. I'd do it. I'm bloody hopeless at any maintenance or anything. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. And please, as I say to you, comments are more than welcome. You know, and if I can answer any questions, I'll gladly do so. Well, Rhea has to deal with all that, and in all fairness to her, she does do masses of this stuff, obviously. You know, as far as the computer goes and all them type of things. But I wouldn't have a clue where to start. She takes care of everything. She makes the films. She does all that. She's brilliant at what she does. So she's not always going to come back to you and give you an answer. But what she might do is refer you to a film on YouTube that, if you watch it, will give you the answer. Yeah. Or she will discuss it if it's something terrible. You know, like not something terrible. I mean, hard to sort out, an hard question to answer. You know, when it's perhaps a little bit vague. You know, we can't actually get to grips with what you're saying. Trot, babe. Then, but comments are lovely. That's how we know what you want and what you're interested. I get people that obviously we've just gone past 20 million hits, over 40,000 subscribers from around the world. So, steady, my baby.